Hey guys, welcome to the Let's channel. So a couple of days ago I shot a video episode on how you can become a programmer, and I've also discussed the disconnect which exists in the education system, such as the college or your schools, and versus even the job interview process, the sort of questions they ask in the interview panel versus the real job, what you end up doing as a programmer. So apart from that, I thought of discussing few things, but I think I have shared enough amount of stuff. But right after I published the video, I got mails across various viewers across the world, and a couple of them also appreciated in YouTube comments. But there are also some kind of pattern I felt the way users expect the more in-depth coverage of the same. So this episode is just a follow-up of the same of my previous episode. In case if you haven't watched my previous episode, you can have a look, because I have really given the entire big picture, and you will get to know really exactly what I'm talking all about. So I'm just going to include the link down below this video in case if you don't know where you need to look forward as well. So it is like, becoming a programmer is not about any specific language, because this is some question many viewers have asked me, like in a specific case, like in C programming, what I'm supposed to learn, and where exactly I'm lacking, and then something like they're also comparing whether it is C++ or C, which direction to go, and some people are asking also about any specific scripting languages and stuff like that. So I can say that programming, besides asking general questions about programming as well. So programming is not about the language. It's just not about how do you express the code, end of the day the logic as such, because if you are a writer writing a story or something, you are expressing your thoughts. Here in this case we can equate these thoughts as your logic, because end of the day program is supposed to take something input as an input, and then it has to process, and then it has to do some kind of an action. Actually it can be even any sort of an AI bot doing any stock market trading. It can be anything as well. So this is what is an objective of programming. So there is some amount of creativity is involved as a part of architecting the software. How do you architect the software? So this is the reason I told in the first episode, once you start thinking to become a programmer, you need to do a lot of preparation, you need to do a lot of coding, and even before you do all these things, once you learn about the programming language of your choice, you need to start going through various existing projects like open source projects, and then you can see the entire source code of a huge project, just not a sample C code. How do you write a file, how do you open a file, how do you do socket programming and stuff like that. This is just a very basic. Once you are done with the same, I highly recommend you to open a sample code and then have a look, open a sample project, download a sample project, open the file, and then have a look how they have designed, and then that is what we call as code walk as well. So as you do the code walk, you will get that idea, have a good IDE or something, so that you can know the API flow. I don't recommend you to use anything like VI or something. Have a good IDE. I use Bluefish for my kernel software development, or just about anything I use Bluefish. So have a very good IDE, and then see the flow of your code, where it is initialized, where is your API prototype, and how it is calling, and how it is called in the entire project or entire source code as such. So check for that sort of flow, and then analyze what are the different data types, what are the different type defs, and struct data types. In case if it is C, and in case it is C++, you have these objects and classes as well. So this is the way you can get familiarized with the architecture they have done. So you can take a sheet of paper, first you can write some kind of block diagram, and then you can try to trace what could be its high level design, what could be its low level design. So this way you will get to know what is it trying to achieve. So you are doing almost a reverse engineering of the same, and this gives a lot of practice, because as I am in the industry almost a decade ago, this I have done many times, and this given me an immense knowledge to understand what is the existing source code is exactly doing as such. So apart from that, programming is not really about any language. It's just like I'm talking in English. Of course, as you know, I'm not so good in English. I'm not really, many users, many viewers have thought something like English is not my native language, so I may not be good in grammar or something like that. But problem is I'm not good in any language right from my school days onwards, because something it is grammar and literature is something it is not I'm not good at as such. I'm very good at computer syntax. Programming languages syntax. It can be scripting language. I quickly I get a quick grasp of the same. I just learn within just couple of days. You tell me any new language, I can learn within just within a week. I can start writing any complicated programs. But this is if you think about general literature and general a language, human language grammar, it is not something I'm capable of. So this is not about English. It is just about any language. I'm not good at literature at all. I'm not good at language at all. So this is some sort of, I have like inborn deficiency, so I feel sometimes bad about it, but this is what is my limitation. And end of the day, I'm not going to do anything in literature space. It's just I need to express my views, and as far as you can understand my videos, as far as it is educating you guys, it is more than enough. So that's about it. So end of the day, programming is not about any language. It's just about how do you approach a specific logic, how do you architect your your project as such, so or any requirement. So you have a project, you have to do something. How do you architect? How do you design the overall aspects? How do you make various modules? How do you split into various APIs? How do you put forward your data structures? And then how do you incorporate all this things, and how do you write your code? This is what programming is all about. So there are a lot of tricks and involved when you do that. There are certain things deliberately guys will do. There are certain, so each have their own way of doing code, and you don't need to follow any specific instructions for this. Again, you have some amount of artistic skills or artistic freedom is also can be involved. You can do your code in your way. It can be even sometimes cryptic. Maybe you may like doing this way. So assume you are not working under any company. You are doing some open source project of by yourself. So in this way you have the full freedom. You don't have any manager, you don't have any lead commanding you to do this coding, you to follow these coding guidelines and stuff like that. So you will be yourself by your own, and you can do in any way. So this is the way I work. I didn't ever submitted any patches in Linux kernel, although I work extensively in kernel space, as you guys, some of you guys know, as a part of my TOFFEE or earlier TOFFEE project. But I never submitted to the kernel a team, because I need to adhere with respect to coding standards, and also I need to change a lot my architecture, which I am not interested. I am not interested here to prove anything. I am very much focused about my project. I am just focused about my stuff. I don't want to make it compliant with anything else and go through their guidelines. I don't want to follow all that bullshit. So I am just like this, and I do in my own way, and I get satisfied doing things in that way, because what I'm essentially trying to do is a sort of complete end product or project which my customers can customize, and then they can incorporate, and then they can use as a part of their infrastructure. So this is my objective. So my way of working is different, my way of thinking is different, and I do sometimes I have coding standards which I do, which is with respect to modern hardware or modern theme as such. So I do that way. So if you say take for example Linux source code, toolbox suggests you to write something like this, so that it is much more readable in those old console monitors. But still at this point of time, these guidelines have not been updated, and I don't want my code to look like someone else coding standard. So this is about me. So I like that freedom of expression in my code, whichever I write. So I like these kind of wide monitors, and then I write also my code in this way as such. So I write my code almost horizontal. So this is very strange, and I feel this is much more readable for me as such. I don't want to write my code to make it good, appear good for somebody else. I should make it my code easy to manage all by myself, easy to add code, easy to spot any bugs, easy to manage at a split second as well. So this is the way I write my code, and I have my own way of doing a function or API written logic. I don't like this negative numbers. I don't like this old traditional C concepts of putting forward in every sort of C language. It is just, I have worked in Java to an extent. During my college I was doing hobby projects in Java, and then I have done also to an extent C++ development, and I want to incorporate some of these good aspects of OOPS in something like C as well. So I just do in my own way. So coding is not about learning language. Programming is really not about learning language. It's about how do you architect, and how do you do your project, and how do you express your logic in that way. So this is what exactly programming is all about. It's just not about any specific language. This language. So each language has its own ups and downs, and its own how to say it is. Each language has its own boundaries, and each has its own place. So you can't compare PHP or Python with C, and you can't compare C with C++, and you can't compare C++ with Java. Everything has its place. You can't compare all these things versus HTML as well. So each has its own role, each has its own place. So programming is beyond all these things. You do HTML scripting, you do just web development, but it is still an art involved. You can do in your own way, and you can architect how you need to organize various resources, various pages, various JavaScripts and stuff like that, CSS style scripts. How do you organize? This is what it matters. After you cross a specific age, right now I am almost like 37, 38 years of old, and been in the industry for more than 1.5 decades. So it is around 15 to 16 years by now after I completed college. So I don't really care at this point of time what is this specific language is all about and all. I just work as an architect for a few companies. So I do a lot focus about how it is architected, how is the it's I consider more this as like an art. So I approach any project like an art. I have my own way to think. I have my freedom to express the logic, because this is not like writing a story or poem. It's like that. So I can't say it's a expression of thought, it is expression of logic. You need to achieve a specific logic, and how do you approach and how do you implement in that, so that it is also end of the day easy to maintain, and also easy to read, easy to spot any bugs, and also it gives you fun end of the day doing the same. So hope you guys loved watching this video. In case if you have any questions, discuss in YouTube comments, or send me an email across, or participate in discussion forums. So thank you once again for watching this video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.